Axel.
Hello? There we go. How was everybody's summer, right? Not? Okay. Mine was good. It was different because I had a job. Stupid. I worked as a camp counselor, which will, change your perspective on things, like children, or fruit punch, or what happens when you give children fruit punch. Has anybody seen Gremlins? Yeah, not as cool in real life. But, I know I'm not a parent, so that was just a taste of kids. And that taste was bittersweet. But it wasn't all bad. I mean, the cute ones were cute, you know what I mean? You know the ones, they get impressed with everything you do. Like you'll stand on one leg, or when you ignore them. But I think my favorite thing had to be the magic tricks, Because I Got Your Nose was my favorite, because the little kids would be like, oh no, where'd it go? And you're like, it's still there. But the coolest thing is, you could take their nose and throw it, and they'd run and get it, or you could hide it, and they'd find it. But, the fascinating thing was, they wouldn't leave you alone until you gave them their nose back. So I always gave it back. Problem with that trick is it didn't work on the bigger kids. Like they're too cool for I Got Your Nose. All right? That entertained me till I was 15. It kind of went like this when I did try it. I got your nose. And she was like, well, obviously not, if I could still smell your breath. That's cute, right? So I kept it. Never gave it back. Oh man, but the cute ones, right? They are just adorable. I may have discriminated a little bit against the lesser cute ones. I call them, the uglies, if you will. All of that. When a cute kid would throw up, it was like, oh, God, look at you. You've messed up. You give them a hot towel, take them to the bathroom, clean them up. When an ugly would throw up, it was like, oh, not it. You're it, Jimmy. You're the last one to get them off the dog kennel. Yeah, I think the worst had to be the dumb ones. And yes, they exist, dumb children. They're not just ignorant. They're dumb. I took care of one whose name was Alex. That'll kill your self-esteem. I shared my identity with a dumb shit everywhere. Yeah, he wouldn't come when you called his name. He'd run around and scream. He'd eat worms. He was a trifecta, okay? That's what we called him, all right? And he had something wrong with him, ADD-based. Because when I talked to him, he'd only look at my hands, so I'd move him in a way to keep his eyes on me, And the funny thing about that is, it turns out he was deaf. So I must have been saying all kinds of shit to that kid. You know what I mean? I'm a dick. But you just can't get away with the things you could when you were a kid, I'm a prime example for that. Kicking sand in a girl's face doesn't mean you like her anymore. Apparently, it's a rape attempt. Nobody told me that. Oh, Alex Liddy, Google that. Also, pissing your pants isn't socially acceptable in 8th grade. At least kids in middle school aren't cruel, right? Speaking of pissing your pants, I also really enjoy old people. Because when they do it, it doesn't matter. And I respect that kind of confidence. Because I can't do it, you know? Too self-conscious. But, you know, I met one the other day. I was sitting in a bus stop and he came over. His name was Earl, of course. You don't meet any old people named Skylar nowadays, right? So I decided to talk to him, and you know, when talking to an oldie, you have to say something, a word or a phrase they identify with, so you don't lose them, you know what I mean? So I kind of scooted over and I was like, so Hitler was a jerk, right? You know him. And he went, yeah, he was, and I was in that quick, okay? So we start talking about WW2, for those who don't know, that's World War II, because what else would he want to talk to me about, you know? Except his prime in the service, which is cool. And, you know, I start asking some gritty details, because I want to know shit. And, you know, he starts to shake a little bit, and he's kind of, I could tell he's kind of, you know, tightening up, and he looks at me and he says, and he did this thing where he squinted his eye like there was sunlight coming into it when there really wasn't, you know what I mean? Like one of these. And he's like, listen, son, you don't want to know what I've seen. And I said, okay, listen, old man, you don't want to know what I've seen, all right? Saving Private Ryan, surround sound, D-Day, all right? Lord of the Rings, 2 Towers. I saw an elf die right in front of my face, okay? You ever see that happen? Rudy. I just fucking love that movie. I don't even know what that has to do with anything. But then, you know, I got to know him and we bonded a little bit, and I said, you know what? What do you say me and you go see House Bunny so we can experience a traumatic event together? Thank you, everybody. I'm Alex.